Most ancient empires fell to invading armies. The Minoans fell to a wave of ash and a collapsed shipping route. And that absence of a battlefield is the entire mystery. For roughly 6 centuries, the people of Crete ran the eastern Mediterranean without fortified walls, without a standing army anyone has identified, without a single carved portrait of a king conquering anyone. Their palaces had no defensive perimeters. Their art celebrated octopuses and acrobats, not generals. Then sometime after 1600 BCE, the volcano on Thera erupted with a force we still cannot fully model, and the most sophisticated society in Europe began to dissolve, not collapse, dissolve. By 1450 BCE, the palaces were burning, the script had stopped being written, and someone else was living in Knossos. Knossos covers nearly 20,000 square meters and contains over 1,000 interlocking rooms, storage magazines, light wells, plumbing that ran fresh water and removed waste, frescos painted in lapis and saffron. What it does not contain is a throne room built for a conqueror. The so-called throne room is small, ritual in scale, flanked by a sunken basin for purification. No reliefs of bound prisoners, no king lists, no boasting inscriptions. Compare this to any contemporary Egyptian or Hittite palace, and the absence becomes deafening. Whoever ran Crete did not need to remind the population who was in charge. That alone tells you the governance model was something other than what we usually mean by the word power. So what was holding it together, if not a warrior king? The answer seems to be ritual, an entire society organized around procession, performance, and the sea. The bull-leaping fresco is not decoration. It is a record of the central public act of Minoan life. Young acrobats vaulting over a charging animal in front of a crowd. The harvester vase shows men singing as they carry tools home. The Hagia Triada sarcophagus shows priests, not soldiers, conducting the most important moment a Minoan ever had. The glue was shared right. Shared right works beautifully until the thing the rights are about stops working. Around 1600 BCE, the volcano on the island of Thera, modern Santorini, erupted. The volcanic explosivity index estimate sits at 7. That is roughly 4 times the energy of Krakatoa. The Minoan town of Akrotiri was buried under 30 meters of pumice, frozen mid-life, with bread still in ovens. Crete itself sat 70 miles south. It survived the blast. What it did not survive was the tsunami that followed, the ash that ruined harvests, and, critically, the destruction of the Northern Fleet anchorages. The Minoan economy was the sea. Their power was a shipping monopoly. The eruption did not kill the population, it killed the roots. Here is where the ritual first model turns lethal. A militarized society can lose a fleet and rebuild under a strongman. A society whose legitimacy rests on ceremonies tied to maritime abundance has nothing to fall back on when the ships stop arriving. Within roughly a century of Thera, the palaces show fire damage, hasty repairs, and a new presence, Mycenaean Greek mainlanders writing in a different script. Linear B over the same administrative tablets. Linear A, the Minoans' own writing, has never been deciphered, and at this point likely never will be. The civilization did not lose a war. It lost the conditions that made its kind of civilization possible. By 1450 BCE, every major Minoan center except Knossos itself had burned. Knossos limped on under Mycenaean administration for another 50 years, then went silent. The frescoes were buried. The bull leaping stopped. The octopus pottery became Greek pottery. What survived was a memory, distorted, a labyrinth, a monstrous king, a hero with a sword. The Greeks remembered Crete the way a conquering culture always remembers a stranger one, as something dark that needed killing. The actual Minoans, the people who plumbed their palaces and painted dolphins on bedroom walls and ran the Mediterranean without an army for 600 years, were edited out, replaced by Theseus. replaced by the Minotaur, replaced by a story that made their disappearance feel earned. The Minoans suggest a pattern we are about to see again. A high-tech, ritual-centered society can outperform its militarized neighbors for centuries and then evaporate the moment its environmental conditions shift, leaving almost nothing behind that the next civilization is willing to remember. Next, we cross the Atlantic to a city of 200,000 people built on the same refusal. No king, no warrior elite anyone has identified, and a sudden, deliberate burning of its own ceremonial core. Teotihuacan is the next piece. Subscribe so you do not miss it.